Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Shivara Madhava ki jai. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Together. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva. Bhakti Bhavati Nashaki. Citing the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest. One should offer a respectful obeisance unto the personality of God, unto Narayana, the Supreme Being, unto Mother Saraswati, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, a regular attendant in classes on the Bhagavatam, a rendering of service to the pure devotee. All that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. A loving service unto the personality of God. His praise requested in songs, established as an irrevocable fact. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Okay, we'll start reading from chapter 29, verse 21, I believe. Yeah. Okay, we can go around and read the verses.
Present every living entity of the supersoul. If someone neglects or disregards the supersoul everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple, that is simply imitation.
One who worships the deity of Godhead in temples, but does not know that the Supreme Lord, as Paramatma, is situated in every entity's heart, must be in ignorance, and is compared to one who offers oblations into ashes.
One who offers my respect, but is envious of the bodies of others, is therefore a separatist and never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities.
My dear mother, even if he worships me with proper rituals and paraphernalia, a person who is ignorant of my presence is in all living entities never pleases me by the worship of my deities in the temple.
Performing his described duties, one should worship the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead until one realizes my presence is in his own heart and in the hearts of other living entities as well.
As the blazing fire of death, I cause great fear to whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities because of the differential outlook.
Through charitable gifts and attention, as well as through friendly behavior, and by viewing all to be alike, one should propitiate, yes, be who abide in all creatures as their very self.
Thank you. Let's go to verse 23. 23, yeah. Vishata parakayema manino bino darshanam Bhuteshu padavirasya namana shantim vichati Vishata parakayema manino bino darshanam Bhuteshu padavirasya namana shantim vichati Please chant. Vishata parakayema manino bino darshanam namana shantim vichati Vishata parakayema manino bino darshanam Bhuteshu bhagavarasya namana shantim vichati Vishata parakayema manino bino darshanam Bhuteshu bhagavarasya namana shantim vichati Anyone else? Vishata parakayema manino bino darshanam Bhuteshu bhagavarasya namana shantim vichati All right, word to word together. We should talk to the one who is envious toward the body of another. Now unto me, of respect, being the nation of the separatists, toward the marriage of one person, peace, attains. In translation together, one who offers me respect, but is envious of the bodies of others, and is therefore a separatist, never attains peace of mind, because of his inimical behavior toward other living entities. All right, and can we get a volunteer to read the first paragraph of the paper? Great.
In this verse, two phrases, Bhuteshu and Paravaryasya, manifold towards others, and Druyasta Parakaye, envious of another's body, are significant. One who is envious of or inimical towards others never experiences any happiness. A devotee's vision, therefore, must be perfect. He should ignore bodily distinctions and should see only the presence of the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and the Lord Himself in that plenary expansion as Supersoul. That is the vision of a pure devotee. The bodily expression of a particular type of living entity is always ignored by the devotee.
Okay, thank you, Nick. So we'll pause here. We'll discuss a few points and then we'll move forward. So here, a lot of the verses that we discuss, they're talking about one may worship the deity form of the Lord, but if they're envious of others or they don't respect others, then they cannot achieve any peace. And we're discussing this, that a new devotee may sometimes feel like, oh, I can worship God, but it doesn't matter what other people are feeling or what other devotees are feeling. But actually, a devotee cares for the well-being of others, even more than a normal, day-to-day person would. Here, Prabhupada says, one who is envious or inimical toward others never experiences any happiness. So even though a person may be God conscious, or even though they may be Krishna conscious, if they're inimical towards others, if they're hating towards others, they cannot experience any happiness. As a person advances in Krishna consciousness, they think about others more and more. Thinking, Kalakanta Prabhu makes this point that whenever we're born in this world, we're a baby, and at that point, all we can think about is ourselves. And as we grow older, maybe thinking about our friends, and then our family, and then we may start to do philanthropic activities. But a devotee of the Lord is thinking about the welfare of all living entities. And they're friendly to everyone. That's actually one of the qualities of a devotee. They're not thinking of causing any harm to anyone else. On this point of being, I was thinking, like, is it even possible to love God and hate others? Is that even possible? I know a lot of religions, even, I was looking up something even in reference to the Christian, and they say if a man say, I love God and hate his brother, he's a liar. So if we say we love God, but we hate those who we are surrounded by, is that even true? Is that even possible? Carmen, do you want to add something on this point, or you wanted to talk about envy? I know, like, what does it mean to be envious of God?
Well, envy means that if someone does something that you feel is more progressive than you, you start to think, how can I bring this person down? And so I wanted to speak about spiritual envy and material envy. So that's material envy. But spiritual envy is this person is doing so well in their service to Krishna or to Srila Prabhupada. How can I also do as well? Or how can I progress? And so take shelter through Krishna. So we take shelter and learn from Guru and Krishna Vedas. It's a beautiful process.
Yeah, that's a nice point. Also, like, I was thinking about envy and how, in the purport is saying, if we're envious, we can never be happy. Because why is that? Why is it that if we're envious, we can never be happy? Because we are always comparing ourselves to other people and thinking, oh, this person has such and such, but I don't have that. So that's comparison mentality is always going to bring envy. And when we're in that state of mind, we're also not recognizing that actually these qualities, they're coming from Krishna. So what qualities we see in that person, it's a quality of Krishna. Why should we be envious of that quality? It's not that, somehow they were gifted by God and they have those qualities, so we can appreciate that as a gift. So that's what I was thinking about when it comes to envy. Does anybody have any more thoughts on that? Yes, Jonathan.
I'm just wondering what you guys think. It says, one who offers me respect but is envious of the bodies of others is therefore a separatist, never attains peace of mind. So I'm wondering about that word bodies. Is that strictly like just the physical body in a material sense, or is that like somebody's whole being, like everything about them, like talents, like their where they're at in life, their wealth?
I think that refers to everything. This spiritual immaturity is not seeing Krishna within everyone. So you start to separate the soul. Well, you start to separate Krishna being with everyone. you end up having a vision of Krishna's not in that person, Krishna's not in this living entity, but Krishna's on the altar. So I'm going to go and worship Krishna, but you forget that a big part of our philosophy and our spiritual growth is association and being with the devotees. Guru. So, yeah, Krishna's just saying here, that when you go and offer respect to him, but not the devotees, you don't attain peace of mind because that's not really how you progress, basically. Yeah.
Sure. One thing I wanted to add is the body, we also have the subtle body, right? That consists of our minds and our intelligence. So that is also included here. So you can be envious of somebody's mind. This person is smarter than me. It's definitely being envious of them. Yeah. You want to add something before I go on? Okay. Actually, also like talking about this point of a devotee's cares for others, they're not inimical to others. I was thinking that, as devotees advance, they care more and more for other people, like the example of Srila Prabhupada. I was hearing a class recently where there was Prabhupada and some of his disciples were sitting and they were having a conversation. And one of the Matajis were sitting there and she didn't have like any warm clothes outside, and this was winter. And so Prabhupada noticed that. And he said to the temple president there, he's like, this Mataji, she needs warm clothes. She needs warm clothes. She's not going to say anything because she's a humble devotee. But it is our responsibility to take care of her. So actually, when a devotee gets to that platform, like Prabhupada, or even as we advance more, we start to notice and care for others on that level, even without them saying anything. You can see that care of Srila Prabhupada. Taking care of the devotees is actually really, really important because that will attract Krishna's mercy. So if we think, oh, I'm going to please Krishna but neglect his devotees, how is he ever going to be pleased? Because devotees are even more dear to him than he himself. And so when we please his devotees, somebody who is really dear to him, we attract his attention. It's like, there's a person walking with their dog and you love them, but you say, oh, your dog's terrible. And I don't like your dog. Many times I've heard people get really offended, like this person likes me, but they don't like my dog. I don't think I can ever be in a relationship with such a person. So like that, how is God going to want to become close to us if we don't appreciate and care for the other devotees? In our day-to-day life, one thing that comes to mind is our philosophy is bhakti. Bhakti means love, right? We're exchanging love between Krishna and with the other devotees, but we also have other things that we do, like we chant, we do service, and sometimes we forget that actually the crux or what keeps us in Krishna consciousness is devotee relationships. We may just get really absorbed in our services and forget, okay, like I just have my service to do, and don't think about other people's services. I remember when I went to Govardhan this December, I was listening to some classes, and one of these points was that a devotee never really thinks, I just have my service to do. It doesn't matter what other people's services they have to get done. I'm just going to go in there and get my service done. They're always thinking about, okay, how would the other person feel? How's their service going? And so that point was really nice. It struck me because actually when I was in Govardhan, I had this service where I was serving prasadam to the devotees. There was like lots of devotees and they were all sitting for lunch and they told us, okay, you have to serve as fast as possible. You devotees from America are like serving really slow. Here we go really fast. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this really fast. And I was praying a lot in Govardhan to be able to serve the devotees. So I was like, okay, this is my opportunity. I'm gonna serve the devotees. I'm gonna give them prasad. I was And I guess I had a little bit of I wanted to show that I could do it fast, so I was trying to do it fast. But in the moment, what happened is I was doing it so fast, my spoon like went up and hit another Mataji's glasses, and it fell off and it hit her face. And then she said, Maji, you hit my face. And that's when I was like, oh my God, like we hear this so much that actually devotee and caring for the devotees is much more important than doing our service perfectly. But in that moment, I got caught up in just getting my service done perfectly that I didn't consider, okay, like how is my service impacting others around me? And after that, I went and prayed to Govardhan and like, please let me be able to be more considerate of devotees instead of just praying for service. Let me do the service in a way where I can please the devotees, because that's actually the purpose of the service, right? We're trying to please Krishna and we're trying to please the devotees. It's not like we're trying to get some check marks like, oh, this person did the most amount of service. It's not the amount of service or what service we do, but in what mood we do it in. So yeah, just being aware of how our interactions throughout the day are affecting devotees and reaching out to them and seeing how they're doing is really, really important to our spiritual practice. Actually, that's what keeps a lot of us in Krishna consciousness. Like somebody who shows us care and is there for us, checks in with us. That's what really keeps anyone in Krishna consciousness. Anything to add? Okay, let's move forward and then we can talk about the preaching. Next paragraph. It is expressed herein that the Lord is always eager to deliver the conditioned souls who have been encouraged within material bodies. Devotees are expected to carry the message or desire of the Lord to such conditioned souls and enlighten them with Krishna consciousness. Thus they may be elevated to transcendental spiritual life, and the mission of their lives will be successful. Of course, this is not possible for living entities who are lower than human beings. But in human society, it is feasible that all living entities can be enlightened with Krishna consciousness. Even living entities who are lower than human can be raised to Krishna consciousness by other methods. For example, Sivananda Senda, Shivananda Senda, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, delivered a dog by feeding him prasada. Distribution of prasada is remnants of foodstuff offered to the Lord, even to the ignorant masses of people and to animals, gives such living entities the chance for elevation to Krishna consciousness. Actually, it happened that the same dog, when met by Lord Chaitanya at Puri, was liberated from the material condition. Thank you.
Okay, so one of the natural things for us is preaching. It's a big thing. So when we go out to preach, we're not there to try to defeat them. We're not trying to like prove that we're better. When we preach to others, we preach with love and care. So I wanted to ask you guys, what are some ways that you would show love and care to when you're preaching? Book distribution, prasadam distribution.
You want examples of preaching or like how to show love through preaching?
What does that look like for you?
I think what struck me as I was that when I met a devotee was that they were very present with me in the eye contact, and yeah, it just made me feel seen. So many people are in the different modes, and so for someone to be fully present, it's very refreshing.
Yes. Um, yeah, so in the material world, everyone here has a broken heart. We forget Krishna, we forget how to properly love. We're not exactly taught how to love. So one of the things that happens is your time in being in the ashram or just devotees, being around devotees, your heart becomes fulfilled, and through time, it heals. So when we go out to preach, we bring people in and we help heal their heart with love of Godhead. So, yeah.
I was thinking that respect is often paired with love, and like specifically with the prasadam service, that like I try to make sure whoever I'm serving is completely satisfied until they're finished all the way through. Like very small things. Like sometimes I can tell they don't feel like they have enough food on their plate. I ask them like this, is this good? And I want to make sure they're good all the way until they leave, you know. So just maybe not shaking the spoon on people and just feeling like they're in an assembly line and they need to keep moving. Or just making sure they're cared for all the way till the finish.
Very nice. I heard someone say, you heal the heart. One of the ways to heal the heart is food. And prasadam is not different from Krishna. So it's really nice that you are very steady serving them and sure that they're satisfied. It's preaching.
So here, like, it says the Lord is always eager to deliver the conditioned souls. So Krishna wants all of the souls to come back. And so if we engage in preaching work, that's one of the most pleasing activities. That's actually one of the most non-envious activities because we're sharing true happiness with others. We want others to really be happy. And when somebody, like you asked the example of like, how can we show love and care through preaching? I guess sometimes there's different ways of preaching, and I've experienced like some people, they can get really argumentative, like, oh, let me get my point through. And if I get my point through, then this person is going to come to Krishna consciousness. But that's not what preaching is about. We're trying to help bring others to Krishna through love, through compassion. And the point is not to win an argument, but to win somebody's heart. And that's not necessarily through winning an argument. Sometimes we may not win the argument, but if we just love and care for them and show, like, we could just accept defeat even, and that can impress somebody because like, oh, this person's really humble. They're like realistic. And that can impress someone, and that can show real care. So it's always nice to keep in mind that the point is not like to bring so many people or to, distribute the most plates of prasadam. Yeah, we're trying to do that, but the mood is to show the love and care. The mood is not so that we can benefit from so many people are going to come and so many people are going to have prasadam, and then we're going to be happy because we'll have more money. The point is we want others to be happy, and we're trying to spread that happiness and love through our preaching work. So it's really nice that you asked that question about like how can we show practical love and care for somebody who comes in to our Krishna house. I think one other thought I had about that is like noticing small things also, like when somebody comes in and for example our program and somebody, they came in for a few minutes and they're about to leave before prasadam. You could just notice, oh, they haven't eaten prasadam, just go check with them, like, hey, would you like prasadam? And so then they can come for the taco Tuesday, just stay for the tacos and have prasadam and talk to somebody, or just noticing if they're feeling uncomfortable and asking them if they need anything. Things like that can generally show real care. Anything else on that point from me? Okay, then we'll
Especially mentioned here that a devotee must be free from all violence. Jiva Himsa. Lord Chaitanya has recommended that a devotee not commit violence to any living entity. Sometimes the question is raised that since vegetables also have life, uh, someone's outside? Alright, sure. Sometimes the question is raised that since vegetables also have life and devotees take vegetable foodstuffs, isn't that violence? Firstly, however, taking some leaves, twigs, or fruit from a tree or plant does not kill the plant. Besides, that Jivahimsa means that since every living entity has to pass through a particular type of body according to its past karma, although every living entity is eternal, it should not be disturbed in its gradual evolution. A devotee has to execute the principles of devotional service exactly as they are, and he must know that however insignificant a living entity may be, the Lord is present within him. A devotee must realize this universal presence of the Lord.
Thank you, Shruti. Okay.
Okay, so there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna, because you're never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So envy,
so in this verse, Krishna is talking about how he gives the knowledge to somebody who is not envious. So it's important here, the point is made that we shouldn't be envious of other people's body, and if we are, we'll never be peaceful. But also to receive this knowledge, we need to be non-envious, especially of the people that are giving us this knowledge. You know, like if our spiritual master or somebody is sharing this knowledge and we're envious, they want to share it with everyone. But if we're eager to serve them and appreciate them, then they're much more likely to share it. I think that's a natural thing that happens if somebody's really open and they want to serve me and they're like, Radhika, you like this prasadam, I got this for you, and let's come and read together. Then I would be much more likely to share my heart than somebody who's like, I'm so envious of her and this and that. Why would I want to share, what's in my heart with them? So just like that, Krishna wants to share his heart with those who are non-envious. So if you want to receive that knowledge from Krishna, we have to learn to be non-envious. Of course, we all have envy in our hearts. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in this material world. All of us, we're envious of Krishna. And that's why we're here thinking like, even though we may feel, oh, I'm not envious of God, I'm not envious of Krishna, if that thought comes, or if that envy comes towards anyone, that means we are envious of, for example, like somebody's quality. That quality is in Krishna. So that means we're actually envious of Krishna. That envy is there. But while that envy is there, there's some things we can do about it. At least we're in the process, in the Krishna conscious process, where we're going to remove that envy from our heart. Actually, also in the spiritual world, there is envy, but it's a little different from the material world. You want to explain a little bit about how that's different, like material envy and spiritual envy? Oh, you did. Okay. So yeah, she did explain that. So yeah.
One thing I wanted to point out was everyone has different qualities, different talents. And originally, all these things, they come from Krishna. So it's, I think one of the things that can help with envy, I guess, is the kind of mindset that you approach it with. So again, like these different talents and stuff, these are gifts from Krishna. So how can we use this bodily life form that we have, these different qualities, these different gifts and talents in service to Krishna? Because as devotees, we want to preach Krishna's love and his message, and assist Srila Prabhupada in this preaching movement. So, yeah, good thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, I was thinking that, yeah, we do all have envy in our hearts, but what can we do about it? Like, of course, we all have envy. And it says if we have envy, that we will never be peaceful. So that means we're bound to just be agitated and disturbed. So that means, like, what are some practical things that we can do in our life to deal with that envy? And is it possible to get rid of it? Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
You can't be hateful and grateful at the same time. The gratitude, I feel like it's been the key for me to rewire any of my hater mindset I have towards other people. So I've come to realize that envy is like a very broad term because John envy is a kind of broad term because John just mentioned hate, and so is hating someone also kind of envious? But to answer your question, I've heard before that serving people, when you're annoyed at them, if you serve them, you'll be less annoyed at them. So I've heard that's a good strategy, but it's definitely hard to get yourself to do that.
I think it's good to like check with yourself, because sometimes envy can turn into hate, can cause resentment in your heart. So you could be like, oh, I'm jealous this person has this quality. But I don't hate the person. But over time, if you don't check it, it could turn into hate for the person. There's different levels of it.
Another practical thing that I realize that helps me is that if I notice that quality in me, I journal, and I journal about what I'm grateful for. Not necessarily for the other person, that's also there, like appreciating them, but also appreciating the gifts that I've been given. Because a lot of the times it does come from comparison, like I have this much, but this person has this. But if I can realize, okay, like these are the gifts that Krishna has given me, and no matter what, actually I'm loved by Krishna. It doesn't matter that this person has those qualities, that's amazing, they have those qualities, but I also, like, Krishna has given me something, and I can appreciate that as a gift from Krishna. And even if I didn't have anything, which I don't have a lot to offer, but Krishna still loves me. So what is there to be envious of? Because what I really, really want is love. And that can be achieved even if I don't have, the best degree, the best job, the best relationships. I can still get Krishna's love. So there's no need to be envious. And just like those thoughts really help me. And just writing down what I appreciate, what I'm grateful for in my own life, so that I'm not necessarily like comparing with others, that I found to be really helpful also.
Yeah, and I wasn't speaking just specifically about hate in its purest form, but maybe a hater. The better way I could say it is somebody who criticizes other people, and I think a lot of times, it's easy to get into a mentality of criticizing people because you want to put other people down to pick yourself back up. And the other thing I was thinking is, depending on also that principle of association, if you're around other people or if you have friends, you guys, we can kind of tend to feed into that with each other and just sitting there and just like trying to point out people's character defects or flaws or weaknesses and just feeling like, you know, that's, well, we don't have those, but this person does. And that's what I feel like being grateful and getting into those gratitude lists, it can help flip your mind.
I also think that if you truly love someone, you will criticize them because you want to see better.
That could be true. I think it depends also on the role you play in that person's life. You know, for example, if you're a superior, that makes sense that you criticize them just so that you want to help them. But if in a friendly relationship, it's not necessary, unless they ask for the criticism, it's not necessary that, oh, this person's criticizing me, and so that must mean they love me a lot. It's that doesn't really correlate, but I can see where you're coming from though. If you want the person to progress, then you can show some criticism.
I was gonna say, yeah, you can give people criticism, but in a positive way, to where it's not really insulting to them, but just kind of giving them a little bit of upliftment and be like, you know, since I feel that I have this relationship with you, that I can tell you these things that other people won't tell you. Because sometimes a lot of people won't say it to somebody because, you know, they don't feel like they know them like that. But if you're a good friend of somebody, then you can give them positive criticism. And it's not really insulting and won't mess up the relationship that way.
That's a good point. Thank you. That's a good point. Bhakta.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can have that in any relationship actually. Even let's say senior to the, or should I say junior to the senior, they could reveal their heart in a way that it's concerning without being envious. And you could feel that actually. You could feel that it's not shared to tear you down, but out of concern and out of love. So it's really like, it's defined by your internal space, like what's your intention. And envy is destructive, that is a fact. But the same thing can be expressed out of love. I've seen both. I've seen both. When things are expressed out of concern and nurturing way, it doesn't reflect, it can reflect concern or love. But it's very subtle. And yeah, envy can, be, and similarly, envy also can come both ways. From junior to senior, senior to junior, like senior to junior can be, let's see, how can we recognize envy? It's always like very harsh, it's always corrective, it's lacking that nurturing aspect. Putting down, I'm seeing yourself, turning it down. Again, it's destructive, it's not nurturing. So envy is, in the whole world of, I guess, spiritual pathology, it's the most, it's most deeply rooted. It's most deeply, it's most difficult to deal with because it's the original disease. So devotee is very proactive and very vigilant when it comes to dealing with it. And one of the best ways is through service. Any reluctance we have of service, it's indication there's still some envy. We can make that radical statement. There's a reluctance to be of service, to appreciate the world, not just devotees, but the world. Appreciate the world, appreciate others. Prabhupada appreciated very much. He appreciated America for its liberties and freedom and opportunities. So any reluctance to have that, it could be indicative. Still some envy that we can work on.
And then make
Yeah. That's a really nice point. Thank you for sharing that. Wanted to add one more point, right, before we close out.
Yeah. So everyone has a unique relationship with Krishna. No one's is entirely the same. And so because everyone has this different flavor rasa, Krishna desires to have this relationship. People will say like, but he has, this devotee, he has that devotee, but he doesn't get what he gets from you that he gets from the other person. So because of that, we all pick up different aspects of the Bhagavatam or the Vedas, and it's really sweet. So that's the importance of Krishna Katha, is everyone brings in something different because their relationship is different. So devotee association is very rare. When you have the opportunity to associate, don't take it for granted. Yeah. I forgot what else I was going to say.
That's good. I think you covered what you were saying. Yes. I think go ahead.
Sorry. And so the more association you get, the safer you'll be. Because devotees carry many devotees in their heart, they're, well, in a way, they're like very blissed out. They feel very loved. There's so much connection, and Krishna remains the center of it. So it's a very beautiful process. Yeah.
That's really nice point. Thank you for sharing that. I think we're getting close on time, but just like quick thing, really quick. It's just I wanted to say like some of the main things that we covered today is we started talking about how Krishna says, if you worship me in the deity form, but you're inimical to others, you'll never achieve peace of mind. And we'll never really please Krishna if we ignore the needs of others around us, their spiritual need, their emotional need. A true devotee, as we begin to advance more and more, will start thinking of others more and more, and we'll start becoming more thoughtful of those around us. We'll become more selfless. Like that song that Bhakti Vinod Thakur said, we sang on his disappearance day, when will that day come when I won't think of myself, but more of others? So that's how a true devotee is like. And we may have envy in our hearts, but we talked about some ways to practically deal with that envy by serving the devotees, by appreciating the devotees. And also, like, we covered points about preaching and how preaching is actually real compassion, sharing this knowledge with others. But even when we preach, we should try to keep that mindset in the forefront that what we're really trying to do is share love with others and really care for them. Is there anything I missed? No. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much for listening to class today and coming. I hope you all have a wonderful day of service and devotee association. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.